Four Wide, welcome back to BT. We talked about this in the You Sound Off. Let's continue it. City News' Big Story podcast, hosted by Jordan Heath Rawlings, put out a new episode this week discussing cell phones in school and whether or not they should be banned, not just in the classroom, but generally in Europe, specifically in England. They're going to make a push to ban it completely in schools, not just classrooms, but in schools. Everyone has an opinion on this one. Devo, starting with you, where's your line on this?
In classrooms, I understand it, but I also, if I was a parent, I would want my child, if I gave my child a cell phone and thought they're at that age that they're responsible enough and I want to be able to keep in touch with them, I want them to have it with them all the time. I want them to have it either in their knapsack, in a big pencil case, in their desk, whatever. I don't want it distracting them from learning, but I want them to have it in case I need to get in touch with them or they need to get in touch with me in any case of emergency. Let's be real. There's been some scary situations in schools, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
Some we hear about, some we don't. And if my child feels the need to connect with me because of that, I want them to be able to. Now, putting the responsibility on a teacher to say, hey, kids, put your phone away is not fair because teachers have enough to do in the classroom. But there needs to be some sort of balance being like, yeah, you can bring it to the classroom, but once you're in there, it's put away unless we say you can take it out. And I think that needs to be respected, and there's consequences if you don't respect that.
Meredith Shaw.
Well, I mean, this is a personal discussion for me because I've got a 13-year-old at home and an 11-year-old. The 13-year-old has a phone. The 11-year-old does not. We sort of kept it as long as we could go without getting the phone. But at the end of the day, this is something this generation knows not without, right? This is a form of social connection. This is a huge form of communication. It's a fifth limb, exactly. So I think, our generation sort of standing in judgment of that, it's a different relationship that we have with our phone than they do. Totally agree with you about putting the teachers in a really tough spot. I don't know, maybe there's a thing where, sometimes you go to a restaurant and everyone puts or a concert, everyone puts their phones in a bucket or something, and you get it at the end.
Ones when you go to a movie that's not out yet, like for us, the premieres are like, put it in this bag
put it in a bag.
It's over there.
There's something about it being super distractive and being very sort of counter to brain development and learning in general. So maybe there's something like that where there could be a spot where the phones go that, in recess or lunch or something, you can pick it up, but in class you can't.
Tammie?
I think because it's become like a fifth limb, maybe there's a way that we can have like a desk, a spot on a desk. Everyone has their phone. You're going to put your phone face down in this like left-hand corner of your desk, and you're not touching it while we're in class. I feel like banning it outright is tough, but I also feel with teachers who already don't want the confrontation. We've been hearing from teachers, especially in the province, as they are negotiating, talking about the rise in violence in schools. And it's the rise in violence is student on student as well as student and teacher, unfortunately. And you're hearing these stories. To add more confrontation to this recipe is going to be, can turn into a disaster. Yeah. There are teachers who don't want to have to regulate every single individual student. I feel like the kids need to learn how to regulate themselves. Maybe there's a way that we say, okay, class, take out your phone. I know you all have them. Put them face down right here. I need to see them all. Leave it there while we're in class. I don't know, something along those lines.
Yeah,
where they have it close enough that they can access it.
I agree that this should not be on teachers. I'm 46 years old. I pick this thing up 80 times a day, which means kids are doing it 4 times the amount. I can only imagine what that would be like. Don't ban it in schools. Leave it in the locker. Keep it out of the classroom. I'm a fan of that. I think we all learned without these things in the classroom. It is very possible. So I know some of you of a younger vintage don't believe that. It happened one day. I'm a fan of that outside of the classroom, but I think that connection with the parents, especially nowadays, people are used to it. I think you have to keep that, especially with what you said early in this conversation about schools not always being the safest places. Let us know. Feedback at breakfasttelevision.ca.